Excited today to have this wonderful conversation with a fascinating person who I've been working with for the last few months in regards to her very important business. So imagine that you're doing your best as a parent and you're trying to make good choices and you're trusting what you see on those supermarket shelves. And of course, the promises that they make on the packaging. We've all been there, right? But deep down, something doesn't feel right. And then your child starts to suffer. And there comes this moment when you realize that maybe the thing that you thought was helping isn't actually helping at all. That's exactly what led my guest today, Sokka, founder of Heal and Nourish, on a journey that completely changed the way that she sees food, health, and really importantly, what we feed our children. And today, we're going to hear how she turned her personal experiences into a mission, helping parents, teachers, and communities make healthy eating something that's simple and joyful and achievable all at the same time. Please welcome Sokka Ung. It's great to have you here today, Sokka.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for the introduction.
You're very welcome. I'd like to start with asking you, what first made you start your business, Heal and Nourish, and actually turn your own personal experiences into that business?
It started around 9 years ago when I was able to heal my son's severe eczema. And accidentally, I also put my own autoimmune disease into remission.
Okay, great. So you've healed your son's eczema and also your own autoimmune disease. How was it that you actually discovered the link between what you were eating and those two severe health issues?
So that happened 13 years ago when I left my corporate career and start a primary school canteen. And as you know, as a small business owner, you try to shop in bulk when everything on sale, like the chips, packets, the poppies. So my garage is actually full of processed foods and drinks. And of course, my canteen is as well. At the time, my youngest son, he was around 2 years old and he hasn't started school. So he basically come to the canteen with me in the afternoon. In the morning, he went to family daycare and he helped himself, right? As I was prepping for the next day, he helped himself with all the processed food in the canteen, drinks, whatever he could, reach, he helped himself. And I just, oh yeah, I was a good mom, just feed my kids, whatever he could reach, just go ahead. And I didn't stop him. And then just only 6 months when I start that business, suddenly, I saw a rash. I thought it's a rash on his skin, but that wasn't a rash. That was a severe eczema. And long story short, he just had this severe eczema. Nothing could heal him.
Okay. And what kind of time frame was it between when you noticed the rash and then it became really severe?
Within a week, basically, when I first saw the rash,
Okay.
and I just ignored it. But within a week, he started to scratch himself until his skin bled, and then, yeah, got worse from there. And that's
And
when I take him to see the dermatologist.
you, how many children do you have, Soccer?
I have four, and
Four. So where
yeah,
was
he's
his
my youngest one. He's my
youngest? So by the time you get to the fourth one, you think that's just a rash, right?
Yeah, this mom went through all the thing, try, skin a little rest. It's okay, just ignore it. But
Here's a hanky and some spit, you'll be fine.
that's it. I
So,
thought I was experienced, right? Very experienced parent, but
yeah,
not
awesome.
completely changed.
So he gets this rash, and then all of a sudden, within sort of a week, it starts to get really severe. Then you start taking him to the dermatologist. And what were the dermatologists saying to you at the time?
Well, they confirmed that it's a eczema and a
Mm-hmm.
very severe one because I basically left it a bit too late. He always started scratching and his skin already broke out, a lot of basically infected skin already. But they gave me just prescription for steroid cream and ointment. So
Okay.
after every visit, I went straight to the chemist and come out like shopping bags of these ointments and cream. Not shopping bag of food, but all this ointment and cream. Yeah. So
Okay. And how long did well, first off, did that treatment work? Did the steroid creams actually work?
no. So I had to change my dermatologist. Not that I didn't trust the first one, but I just that the cream and ointment didn't seem to work. And
Okay.
guess what? The second one also prescribed the same thing.
All right. And in the meantime, you're still working at the canteen, and your son,
Yes.
who's how old is he at this point?
Yep. Maybe it's almost 3 now
Almost
by
three.
that
So
time.
he's still coming along with you, still helping
Yes.
himself to all the snacks and all those brightly coloured food products.
Yeah.
And was his eczema improving during this period of time?
Not at all. Not at all. So I think I had to take him to see almost 10 dermatologists. We did that short period of time. And one of them started to tell me to give him a bleach bath. You know the
Bleach.
bleach? The bleach that you use to clean, the same bleach that I use to clean my toilet at home. So I have to mix that with water and just give him sitting there and having a bath. And because his skin broke, and he just cried. Every time I put him in the bath, he cried. I cried too because I didn't
That
know what to do. This is the specialist told me to do.
would have
Yeah,
been painful for him, I take it.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
definitely.
Wow. So you've got a almost 3-year-old that you're having to put into a bath. How often was that happening that you had to
Once a
give
week,
once a week? So
once a
once
week.
a week you had to kind of get yourself ready to put your poor 3-year-old child into a bleach bath, and he's screaming and crying and you're crying.
I'm
That
crying
sounds
too.
really
Yeah,
horrible. That sounds like a really horrible, horrible experience.
and the guilt in me. I didn't know what to do because, and just look at the crying child, your own child, and I know that even the smell annoyed me. I couldn't stand the smell of the bleach bath. And I
Mm.
had to put my child in it, just the guilt. I didn't know what to do, but that's when I actually start looking. Not that I don't have faith in the specialist, it's just that I became curious or desperate. So I start looking at
Okay.
another way, start reading medical journals. Every night I go on to, I join some webinar, which is like American based. That means I would wake up in the middle of Sydney time just to watch the webinar, listen to what they talk about, and go into a rabbit hole, start more reading, and start to actually I stumble across an article that talk about processed food linking to skin inflammation. And
Ah.
that's the light bulb moment. I understand why my son got this skin
So
problem.
you were desperate, trying to find an answer because you weren't getting any kind of good, sustainable response from the dermatologists and the specialists. So
Yeah,
then you start getting up in the middle of the night and listening to international experts speak about things. Then you found an article that links food to skin conditions.
that's
So
right. Yeah.
when did you start to realize? Was that the point that you started to realize maybe food was the issue, or did something else happen?
No, that was the moment, and I realized it makes sense because this baby was born perfect. He has perfect skin, no problem at all. So only when, because I realized he only had this skin condition because I had the canteen, and he had helped himself to a lot of food, like processed food, and then that's when I realized I was the one who poisoned my own son, you
Wow.
know, and gave him that skin inflammation. And I, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know, just the guilt. I couldn't describe the guilt that I have in me as a parent. Yeah,
Wow. That must have been a really tough moment for you.
yeah.
So, Sokka, what did you start doing differently when you realized that the link was clear between the food and the skin condition?
So by that time, basically my canteen has a 3-year tender. So I basically reached out to the principal. I said, once the tender is up for renewal, I'm not continue on. I want to heal my son first. And I start gradually, advertise the canteen that is, tender is open, and then sell everything that I have, like the stock at cost price. And once that's all sold out, at home I start to change what we eat, what I feed my child. And the first thing I need to do was learn to cook.
So you want to cook
Even
beforehand?
my mom can't cook properly because we come to this country, everything is processed. And
Yeah.
mom is also into thinking that Western diet is good. Everything is processed. Just want to eat something, go supermarket, pick up a packet, go home. That's it. That's your food. So I have to learn to cook from scratch again. So I start making even tomato sauce and barbecue sauce. I learned to make that as well. And yeah, and gradually minimize what we have at home in terms of processed food and eliminate it. But I learned also how to read food label
Mm-hmm.
because when I start learning all those webinar and medical journal, I understand what to look for on the package, not the front, but the ingredient list, and start to understand what's in the package and realize that there are some words that I can't even pronounce in the ingredient list. So imagine how can we fit something that we can pronounce to our body, right? So that's when I start, yeah, taking
Okay.
myself in doing a gut health course as well. I need to learn more. I need to learn more. So
So you weren't a chef, you weren't somebody who was a great cook to start with. So you essentially start with no real cooking ability, and now you kind of developed the skills to create home-based cooking that was much less processed. What happened as a result to your son from that change in diet from processed to food that you made at home?
so as I start cooking everything from scratch, I still have processed food, but we sort of minimize it. And because I know how to read the food label, there's also always better option in package. So sort of swap out, crowd in and swap out gradually. Everything, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes over a year to, initially I think I try very hard to change his palate because once you're addicted to processed food, you have to take time to change the palate. When you introduce something else like a fruit or vegetable, they completely change the palate. So that takes a bit of time. And once that adjusted, he's happy to just go to school, pick up a carrot or even a tomato. He would just pick up and eat like that raw. And yeah, so and also because I also returned to work, the principal offered me a school learning support officer with working in the classroom. So basically I still have a full-time job and a mom of four. So I find adding this cooking from scratch is it's like overwhelming. But then I discovered that if I spend an hour or two on the weekend, basically by Friday I already have my menu planned for the week ahead. So once I have that menu plan, I go shopping with that list. So eating healthy is not expensive if you go shopping based on that list, that shopping list. So on the weekend, I start cooking, like cook once, eat twice, three times for the next week. So that's I learned how to batch cook as well and save a lot of time and my sanity, to be honest.
Yeah. So you're a mum of four, you're working full time, and you're cooking most of your meals from scratch. So that's an impressive effort. Let me ask you though, how did the change in diet impact on your son's health?
The skin completely healed, and I still have a cabinet full of those ointment and cream untouched because he didn't need it. So his skin just healed by itself. I didn't need to have no more, of course, no more bleach bath, no more medication on him at all. And as he was healing, and for me, as a teenager, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. I was on medication. I was told there's no cure. You just have to be on this steroid medication to manage my symptom. But I just forgot about myself. And I just, yeah, take medication. But once a year, I have to take my blood test to test whether I'm on the up or, lower level. And once my son is healed, that was over a year later, after I changed our diet, and start cooking from scratch. I went to my specialist, and my specialist was asking because before I go to the specialist, I would do my blood test. So he had the result ready for the appointment. He asked me the last appointment I had with him. He asked me, "What did you do to yourself?" I was curious. Why you ask me that? Nothing. Busy. Life's busy. I'm working and manage the children and all that. He said, "No, no, your blood is completely like there's no trace of you have the Graves' disease." So
Wow.
that's what I told him. That's what I did. Just change the diet. Eat real food. No more processed.
So you've cured your son's eczema and you've cured your incurable autoimmune disease purely by changing the way that you
Yeah,
eat. That is
yeah.
a marvelous story.
That's what they
That's
told me,
very
incurable, but
well.
now, yeah.
Okay. So I understand that as a result of that journey that you undertook yourself for your son and the flow on effects for your own health, you then started your Heal and Nourish business because you wanted to be able to share that experience with other families so that they could have that same kind of positive impact. So before you started working with me and having public speaking coaching, what was the biggest challenge that you had with sharing that message, that really important message, confidently, especially on video like this or in front
Yeah.
of people?
So when I start working in this classroom as a school learning support officer, I noticed the content of the lunchbox of the student there as well. So I start to talk to parents. I start to share my story of my son's story and try to convince parents, to pack because look at the lunchbox, it's very heartbreaking. All packaged, not even a single piece of carrot or an apple. And I'm talking about here kids that are on spectrum. So these kids, especially, I know they have sensory issue and all that, but they still need real food to feed them, right? So I start talking to parents, sharing my story, but then I want to go bigger, like, talking like a big audience or something. But I'm very conscious of my accent. So that leads to my fear of public speaking. So that's why once I joined your program, you taught me, the pose, the tones, even the hand gesture is powerful. So now I take my time because when I become nervous, I speed up. But now through your course, I'm able to ground myself and slow down. I'm now understand that speaking slower, people can understand me. So now even though I'm still mindful of my accent, but I learn to ignore it because my message is more powerful than my accent.
Wow, what an amazing line. My message is more powerful than my accent. So, for anybody who's concerned about any limitations on them being able to communicate with people, that's a really powerful lesson. Congratulations on stepping into your own vocal power. That's amazing.
Thank
So,
you.
if we go back to your Heal and Nourish business, what kind of transformation do you now help people with that are coming and working with you?
So now I also run a school incursion and also community workshop and I also run corporate events as well for organizations who actually care about the well-being of their employee. Because imagine children's health impact everything. If a child falls sick as a parent, they take leave. And when your employee take leave more often, that means as an organization, you lose your productivity. So my message is that just sharing simple, doable steps in healthy eating and just start small. You don't have to introduce a cold turkey, but start with small step and see the big result.
And if you were to look at, I like that concept of starting small and then stacking habits. I think that's really powerful in anything that you're learning. But if you were to look at the audience that you speak to, so you speak to parents, you speak to communities, and you speak to corporations, and all with the understanding that if we're able to heal our children through food, then the flow on impact for every layer in our community is really powerful. Talking directly to the parents right now,
Mhm.
what
Yeah.
would you say to a parent who feels guilty about what they're feeding their children, but also at the same time, they're really overwhelmed by the idea of changing?
Just remember that you're not alone. I've been there, and I've done things that I know now that I shouldn't have done, like the way we feed our children. But we are not to blame. We should blame the system. We should blame the world we're living now. Because look around, everything is in package. And the big food company has such a big marketing policy. They're powerful. So as a parent, we have to work as well. So especially as a time poor parent, I'll say time poor parent, we usually just like we couldn't help ourselves, but just try to save time. So go for convenience. By doing that, we trade our health and our children's health for convenience.
Awesome. So you're now pitting your voice against the big voices of the big marketing companies behind the processed food organizations. And that's a big that's a brave, bold step. Standing out there and sharing your message. And particularly, it's kind of like a David and Goliath story where you're like the little voice with a really important message. So when you're looking at delivering that message, what do you think has been the biggest shift that you've experienced yourself through the Power Talk program in the way that you structure your story and delivering your message in a way that people actually listen?
Basically, personal experience like storytelling is very powerful. I have the lived experience. Whatever I share is actually come from my own experience. And also, when I talk about my story, I often was told that I am in my element. That's because of the tools that I was able to learn from Power Talk program, that how to create a story in a way that we can engage our audience as well. My audience, most of them are children, and like feedback like from the parents that send me feedback. One of them, which give me very memorable and love what I do, is that I don't know what you do to my child, but when he come home, he go through out my pantry and take out all the package and start reading and tell me we are not eating this today or we are not eating this tomorrow anymore. And then I want an apple in my lunchbox. So feedback like that that make me realize that kids can be powerful too. They are the one who can give the message to the parents. Once they understand why is it important to eat a rainbow of fruit and vegetable, and why it's important to understand what's in my food when you hold up a package. Ask the question, what's in my food? And that's how I deliver my message. I teach even from little kids just in primary school as well. If they understand the concept or the reason behind why we need to eat the rainbow of fruit and vegetable every day, you're singing to them. And that's very powerful when they go home and try to tell the parent, this is not the right food for me, for my body. And that's where the impact, the ripple effects come.
How does that feel for you, Sokka, knowing that you've harnessed the power of your voice to be able to tell your story in a way that children are feeling really empowered in making their own choices, even small children? How does that feel for you?
I actually feel like I'm on a mission. And I am also into reading the recent medical statistics as well, especially in the region where I live at the moment, Southwest Sydney. We have the second highest child obesity rate. And it's just that I feel like I need to be the voice of our children. They are brought into this world, highly processed food world. They didn't have a choice. So I need to be there for them. And I need to actually try to educate and empower parents to join my movement, basically to save our children. And not only are we saving our children by minimizing processed food, processed food can create a very damage to our earth as well. Imagine those plastic bags. Where did they go? The plastic package from those processed food. Where did they go?
Yeah.
and we go into the ocean. We have sea life in there, right? But as a movement, as a collective, if we can minimize that, our world is a better place for
Well,
us
you
and for
have
everybody.
a very powerful voice, Sokka, and honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure working with you over the journey that you've taken from being fearful about your accent and worried about how you communicate with people to be this missionary to help children and families and the planet through eating simple, real foods. If you were to say that there was one tip or one tool that you took from the Power Talk program which gave you the most impact, what would that be?
So when I joined the program, I have no idea what Daniel is going to teach me. I come into the program, still have a lot of question marks, question whether this would help me. But I was surprised after my first call. You were able to unpack my doubt and give me more clarity as my mission and how I'm going to deliver my mission to a bigger audience. So I like that also you're very upfront as well. You just tell me everything, even though sometimes I wouldn't expect you to tell me. To be honest, that the what you call it, the transparent feedback from you make me initially it sort of upset me, to be honest. Did I have that? Have I done that? Really? But then, with the video and I start recording myself and look at myself, oh yeah, Daniel's right. I did that. Right? So that's what I like about you. You actually go into, look at every step of how I present myself, of how I speak, and you sort of help me grow out my fear of public speaking and ignore my accent. You keep telling me my mission is bigger. And
Amazing.
thank you. I'm very grateful for you, Daniel.
It's been an honor, Soccer. If anyone's listening and they're thinking, I am also really concerned about what I'm feeding my children or what I'm feeding myself, and I would like to heal and nourish myself, what's the best way for people to connect with you?
Send me a message on school and also connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm
Amazing.
very frequent on these two platforms.
Fantastic. Lovely to speak with you today, Soccer. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. Bye for now.